I'm Matt. I'm the web developer CTO of SEOmoz. This is my first Whiteboard Friday. I'm also a very active Digg user. I submit stuff all the time. I write content all the time. So I thought I'd share some unique stuff on how to get on Digg and how to leverage traffic from Digg, maybe in some more unusual ways. So starting off, someone covered this in SEOmoz earlier this week. Basically, one way to get traffic from Digg is to comment on stories, to drop comments rather than actually trying to have something hit the homepage. It obviously doesn't send nearly as much traffic as getting on the homepage, but it can still send. I've seen some stories that have sent over 1,000 visitors that way. So one way to do that is to go into upcoming. That's the section of Digg where stories have been submitted and they're not yet promoted yet and they're not yet out of upcoming yet. And write a quality comment. Don't just drop your link in. The best way I found to do it is to drop a couple of links. So I'll be like, someone will post a story and it'll be about CSS. And I'll be like, okay, well, there's my link on CSS. And then I'll find a few others. It just makes it less manipulative looking and more useful, and people tend to not bury your comment that way. Another thing is a general rule, I don't know why, don't cross-link another upcoming story. If you have a story in upcoming that you submitted to Digg, don't drop it in another Digg story that's in upcoming. They typically bury it. I don't know why, they just assume it's spam, so stay away from that. No more top 10 lists. I'm not saying, as a general rule, don't write top 10 lists, but overall, lately it seems like there's been less and less of those on Digg, and a lot of people have been putting a lot of energy into creating top 10 lists, putting them on Digg, and then they don't go anywhere. So I guess what I'm saying is, be creative. Don't just assume it's a top 10, it's instant Digg success, because it probably won't be. It also typically sets off a red flag to a Digg user who's been there all the time that, oh, this is probably a marketer who's trying to get on Digg rather than just some organic content. So watch out for that. One thing that's really important that I found, again, this is just my experience. I don't know if this is actual, I don't have any evidence showing this, but it's just what I've seen. When your story is submitted, if it goes into hot in whatever category you're in, so like if you're in technology, hot in technology, it's basically that if you go into upcoming, it's that little list on the side of stories that may or may not make it. This is the most crucial moment for you if your story is about to make it on the homepage, because once it's in this area, if a bunch of people dig it, it can oftentimes be promoted directly from there. If they don't, it gets pulled out of there and you're dead in the water, you're done. I've heard people say that you have 24 hours from a story submitted to get on the homepage. From what I've seen, if it makes it in this hot technology section, you're doing really well, but if it gets bumped out, you're kind of done. So I guess what I'm saying is if you want to have a bunch of people go dig your story or something, this is probably the best time to do it. Which actually leads to my next point. Don't put a link on your website with all pointing to your Digg story saying, everyone go dig this. Digg has things in place that if there's a mass referrals to a story, it'll discount the value of that story and sometimes get it buried. So I see people all the time, they put these dig this buttons on their blog entries, and they have a blog that has decent traffic and they get all these digs and they'll have like 97 digs and they still won't make the homepage. That's probably because that dampening effect's in place. So I guess what I'm saying is if you want to have your friends dig it, have them do it from different sources or just paste the URL in a new tab in Firefox. If you do submit your story, one good way to watch how well it's doing is to go to upcoming again and then click on most popular and then click on cloud view. It just basically renders a cloud of stories and you can see a ton of them at once. And you can see in the hierarchy of that category how well your story is doing. It's much better than just viewing your story and going, oh, it has 19 digs. I guess that's okay. So if you want to watch your story, that's one good way to do it. Another thing, something that's become really crucial lately is diggers are very sensitive to the environment their content is in. So like I've written some stories lately for some websites of mine that were perfect for the homepage. I mean, in every possible way. They were valuable, diggers like them, it was geek-oriented, it was tech-oriented. They would bury it or ignore it simply because it happens to be on a site that's not a tech site. They automatically assume it's spam or it's a marketer or something like that. So keep that in mind. Either start a blog and try and give it a less commercial tone and put it on there. Or another thing that I've actually never tried, but I'm curious to see if anybody could pull it off. It's kind of manipulative, but not really. I call it link bait and switch. It's basically just where you could theoretically go register a domain, throw a WordPress on it, give it some kind of geek look and feel, write a story on there that's geek or tech oriented, get it on the Digg homepage, get between 2,000 and 10,000 links, wait a week, and then 301 it to your domain, or 301 it to the content on your domain. I wouldn't recommend changing the content. That's deceptive, and that's going to probably irritate all those people that are linking to you, could get you banned, whatever. But I would do is just move the content somewhere else and then transfer all those links basically to your domain. I kind of try to look at it as like you're just putting a different packaging on your content. You're not really changing what it is. So again, I've never tried this, but it's worth a shot if you're having a really hard time getting on the homepage. And last thing is something that I've discovered. I was at the grocery store, and you've probably all seen like the row of magazines, the glamour magazines, Men's Health. you look at the covers of those magazines, the way that they sell that data is like exactly the same to what Diggers like. Things like top 10 lists, well, at least that's how it used to be. Things like, you know, the one exercise secret you must know or you haven't heard of, or how to get six-pack abs in, you know, 30 seconds a day, once a week. You know, completely sensational stuff. Just basically take those taglines and then try and apply it in a geek or a techie sphere. So take like how to, you know, make the most beautiful CSS site in 5 minutes and swap that out and it works. So yeah, just look at offline inspiration. Even commercials that are, you know, on the television is a good way to get an idea of what Diggers are after. Because I mean, it's the same fickle mob. It's just a different, you know, a different type of material. So anyway, that's my vidcast, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.